Thank you so much for joining us online today. We so appreciate you checking out this message. We hope you enjoy it and are inspired to live more and more like Jesus Christ by His grace. If you would like to support the ministries of Rancho, you can do so at rancho.tv/giving. Set up a giving profile and a reoccurring gift. We'd sure appreciate that. Enjoy.
Hey, we did something last week that people seem to very much like. Just a time of kind of quiet reflection and prayer before we get into the sermon. And so we're going to do it again this week, and we're going to do it again next week to wrap up this series. Oh, maybe not next week, it's Fiesta. So we're going to do it this week, and we'll see how it goes. But it's a little bit of a time of reflection. So if you're comfortable, just relax. Put your both feet on the ground. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes just in a time of quiet prayer. And I want you to first just notice that you're a living, breathing, beautifully made human being. You are a miracle of God, the handiwork of God. As Psalm 119 says, God treasures you and He brags about you to the heavens. And if you are feeling any tension or any anxiety, just kind of notice where that shows up. Maybe it's in your forehead or neck or shoulders or in your legs or your chest. Just let everything go limp and heavy and be at peace. Let your body sink deep into this chair and just enjoy God's presence. He is with you here, and by His Spirit, He is within you, and He loves you, and He knows the journey that you're on, and He's excited about your journey, and He's very proud of you. And He wants you to know that in this very moment, He's about to speak to you through His word, through the life and the ministry of Jesus. And maybe something radically transforming will happen in your life today if we let it. God, we thank you for who you are to us. Thank you for the peace that you give in all circumstances. Would you guide us and teach us by your word and by the example of Jesus today? In His name we pray, amen. All right, we are week 4 in a 5-week series called Happy, and we are walking this journey to be happier, to feel happier, in the way that God would have us experience true and lasting happiness. And we're all wired to be happy. And when we're not happy, we let the world know we're not happy. So I'll just give you a little example here. When we're very, very young, in fact, when we're infants, we let the world know that we're not happy by simply crying. We just let the world know, I'm not happy, and we let it out. And then when we get a little older, we learn the art of whining. And we let the world know, our parents and others, when we are not happy, we will whine. We get a little older, we learn the art of acting out. If we act out and we start getting a little agitated or throw stuff, we will get people's attention and hopefully they will make us happy. When we get to adolescence, we start perfecting the art of the dirty look. And then, of course, getting angry. When we're not happy, we can get angry and just lash out and even scream. So this is what happens when we're not happy. We feel it and we let the world know we're not happy. And then, of course, as full-grown adults, we do all this stuff, right? We have all the tools available to us to let the world know that we are not happy. And these expressions, basically, they're how we feel on the inside, pouring out. That expresses the gap between the way things are and the way we want them to be. We want to be happy. We want to be satisfied. We want to feel a certain way. And when they're not as we expect or not as we think they should be, that gap is expressed in all kinds of ways, sometimes that aren't very helpful. But we want this happiness that feels good, and when it doesn't feel good, we let the world know. We want better relationships, and when our relationships aren't as good as we think they should be, there's that happiness gap. We want to get our way, and when we don't get our way, there's a happiness gap, and we can express that in unhelpful ways. We might want to be respected or want more attention, and when we're not respected or don't get the attention we need or the credit we think we deserve, there's that gap, and we feel that gap. Or perhaps we want a healthy body, but our body just is not healthy, and we feel that. It's kind of an injustice, and things aren't as they should be, and I'm not as happy as I should be. Maybe we want more things or have more money, and we don't have more things and don't have more money. That gap is felt, and we express the feeling of unhappiness in so many ways, often that are unhelpful. But here's the good news. God actually wants us happy. He does not want us miserable. He wants us happy. And we've seen this over the last several weeks. We've seen John 10:10 when Jesus himself says, my purpose, the very purpose for the coming of Christ, is that we might have a rich and satisfying life. I mean, that sounds good, right? The purpose of Jesus is for us to have a rich and satisfying life. That sounds like happy to me. And then in the Sermon on the Mount, in Matthew chapter 4, just prior to the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says the people in darkness have seen a great light. Jesus looks at the landscape of the world and he sees that people are in darkness and they're not happy. They're not living the life that God's designed for them. And so Jesus brings in light to this world. He elevates us. He wants us happy. So I'm going to give you the punchline of this whole thing right now. You're going to be very thankful. I'm telling you right now, by the teaching of Jesus, the example of Jesus, the model of Jesus as he's battling in the wilderness, the enemy, as we talk about here in a minute, and as he's preaching and teaching about happiness in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 5, here's the key to happiness. The key to happiness is not about the endless pursuit of filling the gap between what we want and what we have. Here's the secret. You might not like it. It's about wanting less and wanting different things. Wanting less and wanting different things. As we'll see today, there's an entire system that is pulling us to want more stuff, want more things, want more attention, want more for me. That is not the key to happiness, the endless pursuit of more and more and more. The key to happiness is simply wanting less and wanting different things. And that's what Matthew 4 and Matthew 5 is all about. We see in Matthew 4, there are three temptations. Three temptations are pulling Jesus to want things that are not necessarily aligned with the heart of God and to want more. Temptation number one, the enemy comes alongside Jesus and says, hey, listen, satisfy yourself. Turn these rocks into bread. Satisfy yourself. Temptation number two is a spiritual draw, to jump off a temple and have the angels lift you up in glory and power. It's a draw to focus on self. A spiritual draw. And then today we're going to talk about this material draw to focus on self. Me, I. You can be satisfied, you can be powerful, and you can have it all. These are the temptations that pulled at the heart of Jesus in the wilderness and continue to pull at our heart today. Let's see this third temptation in Matthew chapter 4, verses 8 and 9. So this is the devil, the enemy, attacking Jesus in the wilderness, 40 days of fasting. He is exposed to the elements. He's by himself. He is vulnerable, and the enemy attacks. The devil took him to the peak of a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and all their glory. He says, I will give it all to you if you will kneel down and worship me. Every temptation, including this third temptation, is drawing Jesus away from the heart of God, the kingdom of God, the values of God, and drawing Jesus to focus on himself, satisfy himself, build up his own power, get his own way, and exalt himself and enrich himself. These are the temptations of the enemy in the heart of Jesus. And as we've been discovering, these are all happening in the heart and mind in Jesus. This isn't a literal thing going on. And we see that clearly as the devil takes Jesus to a high mountain to show all the kingdoms of the earth. There's no such thing as a mountain high enough to see all the kingdoms of the earth. So it's a spiritual internal battle that is happening here. Jesus is at his weakest time, and he is starving to death and by himself and exposed in every single way. And so the enemy strikes when Jesus is weak and says, don't focus on the heart of God. Don't focus on the kingdom of God. Don't focus on making this a better world for others. Don't focus on your call to selfless and sacrificial love, literally laying down your life to better the world. Don't focus on that. Focus on yourself. That's the temptation. And that's the way the temptations have been since the beginning of biblical times, right? For those of you who are raised in Sunday school or you've been in church a while, you might know the Genesis 3 temptation. It's kind of a story, an epic tale about the first human, kind, and using Adam and Eve as kind of an illustration of that. And then there's this Garden of Eden and this serpent, right? And this force of darkness is pulling on Adam and Eve to go against the heart of God. Keep in mind, the heart of God in Genesis 3 is, hey, humankind, fill the earth, just make this world a beautiful place. Bring the heart of God to the entire planet, right? Live for this vision of something spectacular in all the world that God made good. But instead, the serpent comes along, and as Genesis 3 says, offers fruit. And again, it's all a word picture, right? Offers fruit. The Bible doesn't say it's an apple, but early artists painted an apple, so we all think it's an apple. So I brought an apple. Actually, my wife brought me an apple. Thank you, that was awesome. But it's the temptation. Hey, don't focus on God's plan for the world. Focus on yourself. And here's how the temptation goes in Genesis 3:5. The enemy says, God knows that your eyes will be opened as soon as you eat it, and you will be like God. What's the word that appears 3 times in that temptation? I know you can count to 3. You. God just said, fill the whole earth. Care about the whole earth. Steward the whole earth. Nope, just care about you. If you eat this, you will be wise. You will know what God knows. You will be more powerful. It's always a temptation to focus on us. Focus on you. So the temptation from Genesis 3 all the way to the life of Jesus and even to the death of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane is the same temptation. The temptation to treasure ourselves, or in this case, in Matthew chapter 4, the temptation to treasure the stuff of this world. And that temptation is still alive and well in all of us. Are you tempted? Am I tempted to treasure the stuff of this world? To focus less on the heart of God and focus less on the world around us and focus more on me and what I have? And the answer is yes, we all to one degree or another are really tempted to treasure the stuff of this world. Now keep in mind, during the time of Jesus, there were 2 cultures literally at war with each other. There was the Roman hedonist. The Roman hedonists is the Roman Empire that was attacking their neighbors. They were conquering their neighbors, stealing the stuff and stealing the people, taking their riches and taking slaves for the Roman Empire. So during the time of Jesus, there were the Roman hedonists. Let me show you this, just a picture of what Roman hedonism, kind of looked like. The next slide, if we can. There it is. This is just an illustration of a Roman palace, the palace of the emperor. This is just emblematic of the Roman Empire, right? All this wealth that they've accumulated by war and taking from other countries. And they also took people, so there were slaves and servants of all kinds, very disgusting and grotesque things. That opulent homes, they wanted to show off their wealth. They wanted to show off their wealth not only through where they lived and the servants they had, but the food they ate, the clothes they wore, the jewelry they wore. They held lavish events, lavish banquets, sporting events. They spared no expense. I mean, many of you may know about the Colosseums and all these sporting events, not just in Rome, but all over the Roman Empire. They would build these arenas and they would put on these incredible shows that involved taking people and animals from all over the world and putting them in these auditoriums and fighting to the death. I mean, just the most incredible and grotesque displays of wealth, to just take animals and people from all over the world to drop them in arenas and put them to death for entertainment. I mean, this is just a very disgusting display of the worst of human nature, focused on themselves, focused on their power, focused on their wealth. And it's still kind of as the allure today, thankfully not that grotesque, and thankfully, not that violent. But even now, we want more stuff and the glory that comes with it. We want more stuff and the glory that comes with it. That's why the temptation in the wilderness is so applicable to us today. Matthew 4:8, all the kingdoms of the world and the glory will be yours, right? This is what the enemy was telling Jesus. You can experience what Rome experiences. Jesus, you're a Jewish peasant. You're under the oppression of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire has come into your culture, into your kingdom. They took your stuff. They took your people. They're oppressing you. You deserve more. You can have more. The allure to Jesus is the same in our hearts today. But Jesus, as you know, was a Jewish peasant. And so here's a picture of a Jewish community. This picture was taken just about 100 years ago of a Jewish community that is still very much today living like they were 2,000 years ago. Not much means, farmers, agrarian culture, simple tradesmen. This is the life that Jesus experienced. far different than the life of the Roman Empire, far less opulent, far less wealthy. And so the devil tells the Jewish peasant, Jesus, you can have more. You deserve more. You should have more. You could have more. Go after it. I deserve more than I have. That's the whisper in Jesus' ear. That's the temptation of Jesus in the wilderness. You deserve more than you have. Let me get a little personal here. We drive, one of our cars is a 2016 Ford Explorer. Nothing particularly wrong with it. Well, there's a few things particularly wrong with it, but it's doing okay. I don't know, 140,000 miles on it, something like that. A piece of plastic has fallen off the front, and it's been recalled, and so, we call and make the appointment to fix that piece of plastic that's falling off, and Ford says, oh no, we don't have that part. Then why do you send me recall notices about every other day? I don't know, we'll let you know. They won't let us know. So anyway, it's the life we live. It's, it's fine. It gets us from A to B, no problem. But, we got our eyes out. One day we'll have to get a new SUV. And so one day I saw this Land Rover P615. I thought, okay, well, we can't afford that. It's a Land Rover. That thing sure looks good. But let's just check, Auto Trader, which is sometimes we do. We just dabble. Let's look. Let's see what's out there. Oh, it's $315,000. I don't think we'll be shopping for any Land Rovers anytime soon. But it's like, okay, here's what we have. It gets us from point A to B. Some things are wrong with it. Some things are falling off. It's got a lot of miles, but that new thing sure looks good. Now listen, at some point we will buy a replacement SUV. It ain't gonna be that one, but that one sure looks pretty cool. And we'll buy one. There's nothing wrong with buying something. There's nothing wrong with working hard, making money. Buy, enjoy life, get what you need, no problem. But there's that constant allure. It's like, well, I can have a Ford Explorer. Well, can't I have the next one up? And shouldn't I have the next one up? And why do they have the next one up? And I don't. It's this constant battle, right? I deserve more than I have. All right. Second, I'm a builder. Before I was a pastor, I owned a construction company, and we built a lot of houses and flipped some things and remodeled some things. About 6 years ago, we bought our latest house and pretty much gutted the thing and added on and just loved construction and loved remodeling and the whole thing, and so that's what we did. But we didn't touch our kitchen. All right, it's a pretty cool kitchen in this house, which is one of the reasons why we bought it, but it's not exactly up to date. You're gonna be shocked, and if you gasp, I will totally understand, but the cabinets are stained kind of orange-brown. I know, gross, totally gross. And the countertops, you're gonna really hate this, they're brown granite. I know, you're like, this is awful. What kind of place is this? But the cabinet color's just off. The brown granite's out of style, but the kitchen is fine. And I've had this drive and this pull. I'm a construction guy, I can knock it out, and I've priced some things, but that brown granite should probably be quartz, and that kind of orange-brown cabinetry could probably be refinished, and I've done the math, and it's like, that math is hard. It's like, that's a lot. And you know what? Our kitchen is fine, but it's not up to date. And almost every day I walk by that kitchen and go, this thing should be up to date. Now listen, it would not be a bad thing for us to save some nickels or dimes, and at some point, remodel that kitchen would not be a bad thing. Do you know how it would change our lives from a functional point of view? Take a guess. 0, right? The plate that we put now on god-awful brown granite, which was the thing 30 years ago, it holds the same as super cool new quartz, right? It's the exact same thing, but it will just be up to date. My point is, one day we may remodel that kitchen. I have no idea. We may not. But it's this constant pull. And the internet, whatever person runs the internet, knows I'm obsessed with kitchens right now. I get news feeds. Every other article is like some news about quartz. Why is there news about quartz? They know, and everything is custom designed to pull me to buy quartz, right? It's just this apple. It's this apple that says you need that kitchen. How about fashion? Fashion. Now we have a slide of jeans here. It used to be that styles changed about every 15 to 20 years. So jeans, right, in the, let's say, 40s and 50s were that Levi's 501 kind of style. And then, things changed, especially for women, kind of, in the 60s and 70s, the bell bottoms. And then 80s and 90s, with the advent of hip hop, everything got baggy and saggy. And Christians lost their minds over that back in the day. So it used to be that styles changed about every 15 to 20 years. Now there's something called fast fashion. I'm sure you know about it. It's a way for clothing companies and marketers to get you to buy more clothes. And so now styles don't change every 15 to 20 years. Styles change literally every year at most. Now there's not necessarily a fashion season every year. These trends can change every month, every quarter. It's crazy. I'm going to give you the short list of jeans trends over the past decade. Low-rise white jeans, colored jeans, ultra-skinny jeans, capri cut, faded look, worn look, torn look, frayed look, raw hem look, flared bottom look, mom jean look. It used to be, oh, she's got mom jeans. Now it's like, ooh, she's got mom jeans. That's super awesome. And I just discovered that the marketers are going to start pushing out ultra-skinny and low-rise jeans again. It's coming. I'm telling you, every mom jean look that you think is so super hot right now that you just spent $300 buying is going to be out of style in 45 minutes because skinny's coming back. And you already donated or whatever your skinny jeans. Now you're going to have to rebuy them. All of this is just marketing efforts to get us to think what we now wear is not cool, so we'll buy the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and be on brand and be on trend. And this isn't just about clothing, right? It's about, stuff, not the big stuff of houses and cars, and not just clothing, but gear, right? Tech. You got to have the 17 because the 16 is now out of style, right? And you got to have this next piece of gear. And it could be our hobbies, right? I'm a golfer, and so there's always this marketing about golf equipment, promising the longest driver ever. So this is from last year. These are the longest drivers ever made. And you know what? They're absolutely correct. Because in 2004, the USGA says this is how long a driver can be. And it cannot be any longer than the standard set in 2004. So every driver in 2024 by USGA standards is exactly the same distance as 2004. Is it the longest driver ever? Yes. Was the drivers made in 2004 the longest driver ever? Yes, because they're the exact same specifications. And they will be every year until the USGA decides something else. So yes, is it the longest driver ever? Well, technically, and marketers can say that without being sued. But if they say it's the longest, it's longer than the driver we made last year, they will be taken to court because that's not technically possible, right? So it's all marketing, it's all messaging. But it's for us to say, oh, the driver I bought 2 years ago isn't as long as the new driver I could buy. Well, it's going to be the exact same. Your swing just sucks. No piece of equipment can possibly fix that. It's all marketing. But it's not just the stuff, it's the glory, right? Remember, the enemy tells Jesus, hey, you can have all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And so it's not just about the stuff, it's about how we project the stuff. And so we have, the Instagram culture, which is about, this is who I am. Look at me. Look at what I'm wearing. Look at what I'm eating. Look at where I'm on vacation. And what do we want to do? It's that same temptation of Christ. You can have all the glory of the world and the stuff of the world, and we want to make sure the world knows we have it. It is a very dysfunctional kind of a culture, right? It's these apples that keep continually being placed in front of us. I know you want it. You deserve it. If you can't afford it, there's credit. If you have it, flaunt it. Get what you deserve. Get the kingdoms of the world and all their glory. So what is the apple dangled in front of you? What's your draw? I'm asking the same question. What is my draw? Well, I'm not asking. I told you what they are. What's our draw? We're all drawn to the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And if we want it and don't have it, that gap is the happiness gap we feel. Why do others get to have that and I don't? Why do they have the money and I don't? Why do they have that brand and I don't? Why do they drive that thing and I don't? And why do they have the courts and I don't? Right? That gap is what we feel is a happiness gap. The feeling of injustice expresses itself as discontent, materialism, and self-promotion. That's how we think we want to fill that gap. But Jesus responded to the temptation. Jesus responded to that allure. And he says in Matthew 4:10, "Depart from me, Satan," Jesus told him, "for the scripture says you must worship the Lord your God and serve him only." The forces of darkness draw us to materialism for our benefit, so we can have the stuff, so we can flaunt the stuff. But Jesus says, no, I'm going to deny that, and I'm going to worship the Lord my God, which means I'm going to value him. I'm going to value his heart. What does he want? And he said the same thing from the beginning, from Genesis at the time of Jesus to now. God says, hey, listen, what I want is simple. I want you to love one another. I want you to be kind to one another. I want you to serve one another. I want you to care for one another. I want you to lift up the poor. I want you to notice those who are marginalized. I want you to lift up those who are weak and need to be strengthened. I want you to befriend the lonely. I want you to make this world like heaven. And God says, this isn't about material things. It's not about the stuff or the glory of this kingdom. It's about looking outside of yourself and to say, there's a world around me that God has wanted to build from the beginning of creation, a world that looks like heaven. And it means we can't be obsessed with ourselves. Yes, take care of yourself. Yes, look out for yourself. Yes, make sure that you're taken care of and that you're in a good spot, mentally, that you're safe, that you're provided for. Totally. But then look around. Look at other people. Love your neighbor. Build a better world. And so Jesus says, I'm going to focus on that. I'm not going to be sucked in. I'm not going to be sucked in. Right after the temptation, Jesus teaches the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 6. No one can serve two masters, for you will hate one and love the other. You will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. You cannot. Jesus is saying in a very stark way, make a choice. You're either going to pursue the stuff and the glory of this world, or you're going to pursue the heart of God. It's hard to do both. Now, Jesus does not call us to live in abject poverty. He does not call us to give everything away, right? There are those who might be called to that, but Jesus doesn't set that as the standard. He just says in your life, don't treasure the things of the world. Don't treasure the glory of the world. Treasure the heart of God and treasure the world around you. And yes, work hard and make money and buy things and enjoy things. There's no problem with that. But don't lose the heart of God. So here's how we can do this practically. How can we escape the temptation of the world's stuff and the world's glory? We talked about two things, right? Wanting less and wanting different things. Real quick, how do we want less? That's really hard. We can do that by choosing contentment. Choosing contentment. This is among the hardest things human beings could possibly do. I just can't tell you, hey, want less stuff, and go, okay, I'll just want less stuff. It's a spiritual journey because our brains are addicted to wanting more stuff. When we see marketing material, our brains release pleasure chemicals. So it's an addiction. And marketers know what they're doing. They will present images and celebrities and influencers in front of us that will get our brain to release dopamine just at the thought of owning that thing. And then when we buy that thing, dopamine is released again and we feel a sense of pleasure. And then it goes away and we just have more crap. That's kind of how it all works. But it's truly a chemical addiction. So we can't just go, okay, I'm going to want less. We are addicted to wanting more. So to want less means we have to walk a journey of choosing contentment. And that means constantly convincing ourselves, I have enough. I have enough. So if you have food to eat and clothes to wear and shelter and transportation and healthcare and your kids can go to school, that's kind of enough. I have enough. I don't need that next. Updated, new. I just am going to choose contentment. I have enough. What I have is fine. And then I want to ask us to critically think about the shadiness of marketing. The shadiness of marketing. Now, not all marketing is shady. Every business has to market. Your business, I don't care what business you're in, you have to market. You have to tell the world about your stuff. And you've got to spend money to tell the world about your stuff and how cool your company's stuff is, right? Whether it's a thing or a service, we have to market. We're a nonprofit, right? we're a nonprofit church and school and rescue mission. We still have to market, right? You got to tell the world, hey, this is what we do. This is what we offer. This is how we help. We're constantly telling our own story. That's marketing. But there's a lot of marketing that is incredibly shady, where you can say one thing that's not true, but then give a disclaimer, and then you're fine. I'll give you one example. Have you ever heard the disclaimer, and you hear this multiple times every day? These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. How many times have you heard that? You know what that disclaimer says? It says everything we just said isn't true. That's what the disclaimer said. We just told you a bunch of stuff, and then we're going to tell you it's not even true. And then you're going to buy it because the message sounds so good, right? My thinning hair can just be solved with this pill. You'll have a head of hair that's muy, guapo. Getting ready for fiesta next week. Muy rico. And suave, all of it. If you just take this pill, ooh, I want that pill. These statements have not been evaluated by Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. But I'll buy it anyway. The longest driver ever, buy it anyway, because I just need more distance, right? Don't buy into the packaging and the promises. Expensive is not always better. We had some popcorn the other day. That was Khloe Kardashian's popcorn and protein popcorn. How does popcorn get a celebrity and then you put protein on it? Protein's a new fad. Everybody's got protein. So you know what we're starting next week? We're starting Rancho Church, more protein every service than any other church. Protein-rich worship services, right? Just go toward the fad. Put protein on everything and you're going to sell it. Put Kardashian on everything and you're going to sell it, right? It's just the way it goes. We have a fish hook in our mouths. This is what I want us to think. Battling materialism. We have a fish hook in our mouths. We all do. We just don't necessarily know it, but we all do. I'm going to give you a little quiz. How many advertisements do you see every day? How many advertisements do you see every day? Put a number in your head. How many advertisements do you think you see every day? In the 1970s, that number was 500. People saw 500 advertisements per day in the 1970s. Do you know how many advertisements you see every day now? Between 8 and 10,000. Every single. You don't even know it. Every billboard you drive by, every sign in every store, every statement, you go grocery shopping, most things that you see online, it might just seem like, oh, you're researching, but it's just ad, carefully packaged ads, disguised ads. And the World Wide Web is marketing, all fair game. They know you want some, and they're going to pour it in your direction. Ad, dozens and hundreds of ads every single day. The whole world is wired for it, right? So limit social media. Just want to encourage you, limit social media. It's all marketing the world's glory and the world's stuff. Just limit it, maybe. Want less, and finally, want different things. Want different things. I want to encourage you to triangulate above the system, right? Here's the system. Marketing and consumers. $500 billion a year is meant to market you Americans, us Americans. This whole marketing infrastructure, trying to pull the consumer into buying more stuff. It's all a game. Fish hooks in our mouth. 8,000 to 10,000 ads a day we see. We can triangulate. We could choose to be above it all. You can be above it all. Now, in order to be above it all, you've got to critically think about it. You've got to know what you're seeing and know the bull that is out there and know that everything that's being put your direction, from a news feed to your social media feeds, it's all marketing. Know that, perceive it, get that fish hook out of your mouth, triangulate, live above it. And I know it sounds kind of condescending, but live above it. You can live above the marketing, and you can be free from this allure to materialism. Second, focus on the life and teaching of Jesus. There's nothing to free us from materialism and this allure to more stuff and more glory than focusing on the life and teaching of Jesus. Read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, then read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Hear Jesus teaching, watch what Jesus does with his life, and try to emulate him. Focus on mercy, justice, and love. That's why I wore a t-shirt today. I know it's my uniform is a polo shirt. but mercy, justice, and love. Our mission statement, diverse community of friends, advancing the cause of Christ through mercy, justice, and love. There's no materialism in here. Not that material things are bad, but this is the heart of God. Show mercy, advocate for justice, love the world around you. This is the heart of God. This is where our allegiance should be. And one final thing, and we'll close in a very cool song that's spot on. I just want us to think about this concept. Think that perhaps America is more like Rome than the Jewish peasant we read about and hear about and sing about every Sunday. Just put that in your brain. We talked about this dichotomy between Rome and the Jewish peasant. The United States of America is more like Rome. The average United States citizen lives a more opulent lifestyle than the average Roman citizen did during the time of Christ. The United States elite lives a more opulent life than the Roman elite 2,000 years ago. We are more like America. And oftentimes, it's still not enough. Not enough. Not enough. We follow the Jewish peasant in America as American Christians, and it's hard. It's hard to be content. It's hard to say, I have enough. It's hard not to focus on the things I don't have and the things I think I need. It's hard to focus on other people and lifting them up. But that's the cause of Christ. That's how we resist the temptation and truly live free.